Am I fat phobic? Well, when I think of phobias, I think of irrational fears. Uh, Fat phobic? Am I irrationally afraid of fatness? No, but I think the word fat phobic might indicate something else, like a bias or a prejudice against fatness, as if fatness were something to be avoided. So there's this viral video going around that a lot of people are criticizing. Um, a young woman is saying something like, any intentional weight loss for the purpose of health is fat phobic. 99% of the time, trying to exercise or diet to lose weight will be a fat phobic effort. Well, I remember being 400 pounds. I didn't feel good. The argument could be, well, I mean, not everybody is going to feel like you did at 400 pounds. I would like to apply a lie detector test to someone who is 400 pounds and have them explain how good they feel in their enormous 400-pound body. Well, I guess it depends. Speaking of fat, depends how they define feel good. If you enjoy going up and down stairs without holding the railing, well, see, now they're going to get me for, I don't know who they are. Who's paying attention to my channel that they're going to get me for anything. But all right, someone could allegedly accuse me of being ableist. Because I'm pointing out that going up and down stairs without holding onto the railing is the optimal way to go up and down stairs. Well, look, my book, Diary of a Fat Girl, talks about my life as a fat person. It covers a year of my life, and there are some flashbacks. People could argue, well, you were unhappy for other reasons, and you just happened to be fat during this time. You could argue that. But you should read the book first, and then let me know. So, people would say, well, it's ableist to label going up and down stairs without holding the railing as the optimal or the best way to do it. But I do, because I believe in standards, I believe in measurements, I believe in ideals. So ideally, if I was at my most thriving and able, I could go up and down stairs without holding the railing. Can I do that today? No. Could I maybe teeter myself up 2 or 3 stairs without holding on to something? I'd struggle, but I could do it. I still bring a cane wherever I go if I know in advance there will be stairs. Or if it's an unknown place and I don't know if there are 2 or 3 stairs and no railing. Or if the floor is slippery or whatever. Yes, I had 2 total knee replacements due to osteoarthritis. My surgeon who did my knee replacements drew a pie chart. And he says, and there's different levels of how these items contributed to your needing knee replacements. Hereditary was the biggest factor. Both my parents have had osteoarthritis. My father had 1 knee replaced, and he was going to go in for the second, but then his dementia set in, and we just didn't make that happen. My mother has horribly disfiguring osteoarthritis. She chose not to do anything about it surgically or medically even. So yes, heredity is a big factor. Then we have misalignment. walking funny, I guess is one way to put it, and I always did. I used to have to put, what do you call those, little cookies in my shoes to get me to walk correctly. I had issues with my feet since I was a child. I had to go to Plaza Bouderie. It was a special place for special shoes. And the obesity. Being fat all my life contributed to my knees wearing out. The cartilage between the bones wore out. Heredity, misalignment, being fat. So what my surgeon said to me was like, you most likely would have needed the knees replaced even if you were not overweight because of the heredity and your misalignment, but it might not have needed to be done for another 10 years. What was I, in my 40s, early 40s when I had the knees done, which is unusual. They usually don't replace knees till you're older. Glad I did it. Glad I did it. One of the many issues that my larger body size, my fatness, exacerbated, made worse. Type 2 diabetes. Not everyone who's fat is diabetic. Okay, but I was. So maybe I should be fat phobic because I don't want to die. Type 2 diabetes will kill a person. I've watched it happen. I've watched people get feet amputated. I've watched people become necrotic where wounds don't heal and the flesh dies because they're so sweet. They're so full of sugar. Their blood is so sweet. They cause terrible issues. Okay, I know not everyone who's fat is diabetic. I was. I almost died from sepsis because my blood sugar was out of control. If I had been eating well, your paw is adorable, I'm just saying. Optimally for somebody with type 2 diabetes, I was not in the constant state of gaining weight. I probably would not have been, whatever you want to call that, not SARS, not septic, a systemic infection that my body couldn't fight because of all the sugar in my blood. Superbug. So fatness there was not optimal. Not the best thing to be. I didn't like that public seating didn't fit me. I know, I hear the objection. People should be able to be accommodated. It's the same as if somebody doesn't have wheelchair accessibility at their business, or an arena or theater doesn't have, a wheelchair spot. I'm not saying fatness is a disability. I'm saying it's an accommodation. People should be able to fly or ride a bus or sit in a doctor's office or sit in the park and sit in a way that they won't break the seating or overlap over the sides of it, thereby infringing on people next to them. I know people don't like the idea that fatter people are charged more for seats on buses and planes and trains because they might need 2 seats rather than just 1. And that's not fair. What I want to say about that is I was humiliated. I felt humiliated every time I had to ask for the seatbelt extender. No one was ever unkind to me when I asked for it. They were always polite. Just got it and gave it to me without comment. But I didn't like the way that felt. And the first time I flew and I didn't need the seatbelt extender was a joyous moment for me. Finally, I'm getting healthier. I'm of a more typical size. I don't like the word normal. but I meant normal. Yeah, that felt good. Feels good to be able to walk. It feels good to be able to get up and down off sofas and in and out of beds. Feels good not to wear out furniture. These are all things that happen to me. Feels good to need less and less medication for various ailments that are made more severe by being fat. Feels good to exercise restraint in choosing what I eat and having the scale very slowly go down, 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 down. So am I fat phobic? I would be frightened if I saw the scale climbing and I couldn't get a hold of my eating. I would feel, and this is why I'm on the down slope. I'm on the lose once again. I saw the weight creeping up. I didn't like the way I looked in pictures. I didn't like the way the sizes weren't looking like they were going down when I bought clothes. I didn't like those things. They didn't feel good. I didn't like that my medical chart said severely obese. I didn't like that I had to be prescribed metformin and other things, not Ozempic, the other one, Trulicity, to try to manage my blood sugar. I didn't like any of those things. So yeah, maybe I am afraid of being fat and dying because I couldn't get my health, the things that I can change and can influence, I couldn't get those under control. But what about other people? How do I feel about other fat people? I love people. I love them exactly as they are. I don't think there's anyone that I would want to have a conversation with about being too fat, because guess what? They know they're too fat. What do I mean by too fat? More than your doctor would. You know, when your doctor's cautious about how fat you are, you're too fat, probably. There's never really a false positive on the fatness. And I see people suffering with type 2 diabetes, people I love, people with back issues, people with breathing issues. And I see how quickly they'll eat a piece of cake. And I don't mean how quickly they'll reach for it, how quickly it disappears. Like you're not even enjoying that, and it's killing you. Do I think those things? Yes. Does that make me fat phobic? Maybe. I don't want to go back to being a 400-pound person. I don't want to go back to being a 300-pound person. I don't want to go back to being a 250-pound person. I'm hovering between 219 and 225 right now. It's one of those seesaws. My clothes are really loose, though, so it might be one of those, the scale doesn't reflect, you know, the inches kind of thing. But maybe I have to put trigger warnings on my videos now. I talk about weight loss as if it's a good thing. I talk about my having been very, very fat as a bad thing. I will warn people, and you can unsubscribe, you can block me if you want to. I know I feel better. My life is better because I took off quite a bit of weight, over 150 pounds. And now I only have fat cats.